Hello and welcome. I'm Diane. I'm a member of the Conservation Social Science Partnership, acting as a lead of our training and capacity building efforts. And I am happy to be talking to you today about recent research that the ConSoSci did on capacity building needs and gaps. The Conservation Social Science Partnership is a group of conservation NGOs, researchers, and social science practitioners who came together in late 2019 to address critical gaps in social science capacity, implementation, and accessibility in conservation. Our mission is simple. It's to promote, facilitate, and coordinate the use of effective and ethical social science, data collection practices, and analysis to inform conservation decision-making and action. And by doing this, we envision a world where nature and people thrive together. With this presentation, we would like to share lessons learned from few researches conducted by their partnership. In late 2020, we asked conservation organizations and institutions to tell us more about the capacity building needs in conservation social science. Then, in 2021, a team of social scientists conducted a gap analysis of existing training resources. I'm going to present to you the main findings of these and how it enforced the strategy of the Conservation Social Science Partnership and product development. We really wanted to understand the capacity building needs for the application of the social sciences within the conservation community and determine what the ConSoSci partnership could do to fill those gaps. We sent the survey to conservation professionals and academics on this issue between September and December 2020. We had 90 responses, and if you're one of the people who responded, we thank you again for the time you took to answer the survey. In 2021, we asked social scientists to review free or low-cost training resources to identify what resources exist to meet those capacity building needs and what are the gaps. They came up with a database of high-quality resources covering conservation and social sciences, and they provided recommendations for future provision of new resources. They used unstructured searches using the internet and personal networks. They searched in multiple venues, multiple languages, and used keywords and quality criteria. They could find 446 resources in 5 different languages. First, let's talk about the findings from the capacity building needs assessment. With 90 exploitable submissions, we found that respondents were working in non-governmental organizations, followed by universities and research institutes. 60% of them are based in North America, then Europe and Asia. We asked them what they were working on, and we can see that the various roles in conservation are well represented in the answers. Research came first, followed by monitoring and evaluation, then strategy and planning. Most respondents have quite a long experience in conservation, more than 10 years for 60% of them. Often, they spend between 1 and 5 years in their current organization or institution, suggesting an opportunity for cross-learning, bringing perspective, tools and resources from one institution to another. One of the findings that surprised us most was that a quarter of respondents either don't know or do not seem to follow ethical guidelines when they conduct social science research in conservation. And another quarter did not provide any answer. This is an opportunity to improve ethics of social science research in conservation. The points covered by ethical guidelines that they follow are confidentiality and anonymity, seeking consent, submission of research design to formal ethical review process, and broader human rights obligation. They usually find them in institutional review boards. At the time of the survey, a minority of respondents were not using social science methods, but the majority of them said that it would be useful to use. We found that all the potential social science methods are represented, and the ones being used the most are semi-structured interviews and questionnaires. The people who collect data are the same as those who design the research in almost half of the cases, and it's most often done by field staff. Data is mostly coming from Africa, Latin America, and Asia. The respondents mentioned that the data being collected is about conservation, community, behaviors, attitudes, knowledge, natural resources, and more. They said that they received a training on social science during their education for 78% of them. And some also received a training where they currently work. The trainings covered analysis, methods, workshop, interviews, ethics, amongst others. The respondents identified many challenges when conducting social science in conservation. You can see here some of the challenges that they expressed, and they relate to the lack of skills and knowledge and the lack of time to design appropriate research. Only 19% of the respondents who do not use currently social science methods. The main reason for that is, again, the lack of knowledge to design appropriate research or analyze data. Fortunately, this can be addressed on the short term by the ConSoSci by making capacity building resources available and accessible. However, some barriers will be addressed only on the long term with evolving organizational culture. So what are the needs? As we can see, respondents identified the lack of time, resources, and knowledge as the main barriers to capacity building. And most respondents said that it would be either very or extremely useful to receive training in social science. And this is what we are trying to achieve in the Conservation Social Science Partnership, to provide trainings for those people. What are the needs again? We asked who would benefit most from the trainings, and it seems like field staff and project manager are the ones who benefit the most from receiving trainings. In terms of format, the respondents voted mostly for online or in-person instructor-led training. In summary, even if most respondents currently use various methods of social science, they feel like capacity building on those would be extremely useful. There is a great opportunity to make social science and conservation more ethic. And by providing online, free and open source training materials, the ConSoSci can address some of the main challenges in using social science and conservation, such as the lack of resources and knowledge. Now we'll talk about the gap analysis of training resources. The team identified 446 resources in 5 different languages. All of them are now included in the online library of the Consortium Social Science Partnership website. The majority of search efforts focused in English, explaining why 59% of the resources are in English. We have 90% of them that are open access, and only half of the resources that they found were specifically developed for conservation. Here we can see an overview of the gaps represented by the dark blue dots. So for example, we found that resources in other languages than English are often missing. The logistics of social science research are not covered. And there is a lack of resources on quantitative and qualitative data analysis that were developed specifically for conservation. In their report, they provided recommendations for their partnership, and it informed our priorities for this year. Because many specific research tools have been developed but are quite hard to find or to access, we are currently working on a platform to help discover, learn, and choose from different tools or methods. Also, as we can see, conservation research has unique ethical challenges, so we are developing training materials for organizations to do their own ethical review. And finally, we are translating high-quality resources in French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Bahasa, and we're making sure that any new research that we develop will be available in multiple languages. The report highlighted all other recommendations that we'd also like to address. Many methods are quite advanced and difficult to learn by reading materials, so we should work and develop more interactive trainings, and we'd like to facilitate collaboration between field practitioners and trained social scientists. There are no resources comprehensively covering the practical logistics of conducting social science, so a manual for beginning researchers would be very useful. Thank you very much for participating to the survey and for listening to this result presentation. The results of the survey were very insightful, and it helped us prioritize actions of the Conservation Social Science Partnership. You can access many resources on our website by looking at the libraries, and you can also view some online training videos on our YouTube channel. If you'd like more information about the partnership, the research presented here, or if you would like to join us, you can reach out to info@consosci.org. Thank you again and have a great day.